democracy versus where the leader's decision is narrative. And let's welcome our panelists, Mr. Kukoi, Mr. Michael, and Faris.
Now, we are not here to talk about how well our students are conversant with more affairs. This is very important because as concept, you are the future leaders. Each person will come in twice. First round, you are going to be having 10 minutes each. Second round, you are going to be having 2 minutes each to summarize all the points. Now,
that law is not a restriction, but a protector of society. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Yoina Olaproje, and it's on this strong foundation that I support the notion that law should be followed strictly instead of being overridden by a legal decision. The law is the backbone of every organized society. It is made to regulate human behavior and maintain peace and order. If a leader just decides to override it, then where is the justice? Criminals will feel encouraged, insecurities will increase, and there will be disorder in the community. Citizens will live in fear. This clearly shows that laws are not respected, chaos will happen. Furthermore, the law promotes equality and justice. In a democratic society, the law applies to everyone, both the leaders and the led. If Aristotle rightly said, the law is reason free from passion, this means that the law is made based on logic and fairness. If a leader's decision acts above the law, then this destroys the fairness, this destroys the justice, and this creates a society where the powerful are favored and the weak are oppressed. True justice can only be achieved if the laws are followed strictly by all. History has shown us the dangers of allowing leaders to override the law, to be above the law. When leaders are not bound by the law, power is easily abused. During periods of military rule, they ruled by degrees, not laws. Citizens had little or no freedom. They didn't have freedom of speech, freedom of human rights were constantly violated. This proves that when most leaders are allowed to overrule the decisions, where they are allowed to act above the law, dictatorship and oppression are most likely inevitable. The law exists to protect fundamental rights and freedom of citizens. This includes the right to life, right to freedom, right to movement. If leaders are just allowed to ignore these laws, this right can be trampled upon. Allowed to ignore these laws, this right would be disrespected. A leader may just arrest a citizen without trial, seize properties illegally, or silence opposition voices. Such actions create fear, injustice, and instability. Thank you.
So, I'm here for you too.
Laws are made with little leeway to be changed. It's just where they need to be changed. Good day, everyone. Standing on electricity protocol, my name is Rahman. Laws should be allowed to be overturned to protect people, infrastructure, adapt and prevent harm to them. I'd like to expatiate. These laws can in fact be outdated. In situations where we have wars, famines, natural disasters, or harm to public life, these laws need to be changed. We have laws which already reinforce institutional biases. For example, laws which say X, Y, Z, these people should be separated from other people. For example, the segregation laws in the United States. These laws were not undone until the late 1960s, where even when they were undone by the presidency, they faced heavy upheaval and backlash by those in power in the Senate and the House. Next, leaders can be held to account, but the law cannot. When leaders make decisions, they can be held to account on the harm these decisions cause. But if we have a rule, a law, a situation, a decree that causes harm to people, this law has nobody to be tried against. For example, after Sani Abacha's crime, no panel in Nigeria, which held people in power, which had them come and give interviews, statements, and accounts on what happened. But the laws which were set couldn't. All they had to do was to be overturned. Furthermore, these laws and the ability for them to be changed are already enforced in the Constitution. The Constitution allows for decrees, it allows for states of emergencies, which shows that an all-limiting law system simply does not work. So even those who propose that they should not be allowed to change these powers are wrong. Proponents can say abuse of power. However, what the law does is to protect the citizens, to safekeep them and not trap them in a rigid box, preventing them from doing things which could be of public safety. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's see what we have to say in respect of that. We have once more.
I heard something my opponent said. He said laws are outdated, but there's constitutional development from Clifford to Livingston to McCarthy to Richard to 1999 abuse of power. In conclusion, the law is foundation of peace, justice, and equality. It is the freedom. It is a society where leaders and the led obey the laws, and that will progress. A society where leaders override the law will turn into oppression. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this. If law can be ignored, then what protects the citizens? If the leaders can bend rules at their will, then where is the justice? The law is not a body, it is a shield. It is not a limitation. It is the foundation of freedom, foundation of equality and peace. So I ask you, do we want freedom, justice and order? Or do we want lawlessness and oppression? For me, the choice is obvious. This is why I, Reina Malakodri, strongly and confidently support the notion that law should be strictly followed and not superseded by leaders' decisions. Thank you.
We have to understand that the rule of law is not a rigid ruler, but instead it's flexible. It should be allowed to work, it should be allowed to create, it should be allowed to protect. It is not a savior in this situation, and that is what the rule of law is. The rule of law is not something that says, okay, these laws are X, Y, Z, upon plan. The rule of law is something that says the leader has the right to do it. Thank you.
Who are you for? Do you believe that we should go straight in the Constitution, or the leader in power has every right to deal with the Constitution, law, and things the way he or she wants? Of course, we are right in the world, we are seeing examples that so-called leaders who are coming on the right of the people go against United Nations Convention. They have the right to interfere in the affairs of other countries and do that right now on their own. So if you have any open call.
So my question is for Ayinde. You said that the law is something that is to protect in an emergency. But how then do you ensure that the government does not turn authoritarian? Because leaders are not subject to any law. And some leaders may want the best interest of their people, but not all leaders are like that. So in any case, a wrong leader could lead to oppression. So how do you
Very simple, just like that. Okay, so situations like that, we have the legal, legislator, the executive, and the judiciary. So for example, if a leader does what's wrong to the law, they can be tried in court. If they do what's wrong, there can be powers of the House and the Senate invoked to revoke those laws. I hope that explains the question.
Inside, and of course, for me, it's been very, very enlightening. Is a bigger platform. So the show you have really done very well, and of course, somebody must always come to us. Very, very good. So after the back and forth, in total, only was able to, out of 50, he was able to get 46 points. thank you all.
Our two contestants both support, even if they oppose each other, they both say that whichever one happens, whether the law guides the society or the leader guides society, and then the fairness and justice. But as we are seeing the candidates, we have the winner stating to ensure that the law should be strictly followed. So thank you guys for this.